All right, happy full moon, happy lunar eclipse, by the way. Let me make sure my sound is on. It looks like it's on. Obviously, it's on if the colors is going. And let me see. Does it say that I'm live? Just says upcoming. Alrighty, let's see. So we're gonna hold on. I have to check my other phone and see how that sounds while I'm on here. Okay, so I wanted to do like an energy update, eclipse season energy. I was actually gonna title this something different. YouTube is so slow. Y'all drive me nuts. Why won't it show that I'm live? Can't stand YouTube. YouTube, if you hear me, I can't stand you. Okay. All right, it does show that I'm live now. Okay. Had to click out and click out. So it's annoying because they don't send my notifications and that be pissing me off. Um, but yeah, so I want to do like an energy update for the collective energy surrounding this Pisces full moon lunar eclipse. And I just got like a whole bunch of downloads all the time. When I'm in the shower, most definitely I be getting the downloads. So I wanted to come on here when I was in the space too. I don't know about y'all, but I be feeling hella tired. As of lately, really tired. And I'm just like, let me pace myself and just rest. So let's talk about that energy. Like I said, I was going to title this something completely different. At first, I was going to title this Giants Are Falling. And I don't remember when this prophecy came to me. I think it might have been like 2021, maybe 2022, possibly, where I was talking about like some really big people falling from grace and falling off of their being dethroned. Like God ain't playing, and it's a lot. It's a lot more to come. So I don't want to harp too much on that type of energy, but I do feel like it does have something to do with Pisces energy, especially with eclipse. So because we're in this, are we in the Aquarian age yet? I don't know if we're in the Aquarian age yet or we're gonna move into it, but I'm pretty sure we're in the Aquarian age. Somebody can correct me for you astrology heads out there. But Pisces energy is kind of like that. What we knew was the Christ, and I've come to find out, and it all makes sense because I had this conversation with one of my spiritual sisters. We were talking about like how tarot became to be, and we were talking about the elites, and we were talking about the Knights of Templar, and she had mentioned that the Marys, when they talk about the Marys in the Bible, it's kind of like they have this is the good girl Mary and this is the bad girl Mary that is redeemed and blah blah blah. But Marys were a society, right? Same thing with Christ. Christ is not one person. And I found, so Jesus Christ, so the Christ energy, the Christ consciousness, where, in my opinion, mystics, a house of mystics or study, it's kind of like, I don't know, this is just my philosophy. I could be completely wrong. But when I had that conversation with my sister, this was a long time ago, she was saying that the Marys represented a house of priestesses, which I totally agree with that. So I'm like, Christ could be priestesses or priests, excuse me, the priests. That is just my philosophy. That is my take that they've studied. And then you get into the whole Piscean energy. Pisces is like that mystic, that natural mystic energy. And not just that, not just the mystic, but I'm thinking about certain biblical texts and scriptures too that kind of, not the Gnostic texts, but the Gnostic texts can tie into this as well because of the whole teachings of Christ, of kind of like the law of attraction and like the mysticism that you will do greater works than me and things like that. I feel that's Piscean energy, that mystic energy. I don't know if I'm describing it in the way that it came to me. I should have wrote it down because stuff be coming in like that. And especially when you're in the shower, you can't jot some shit down, you know. or grab your phone with wet hands and like try to type it in your notes or something. But yeah, so and then the whole Pisces energy. So you know the symbol of Christ. I forgot to spray my roux around my space, cleanse the energy. All right, my little sprays. One of my little sprays I made a long time ago. It's almost gone. Some roux, some good old roux in there. If you guys know about anything with herbal, healings and stuff like that, or spiritual uses of herbs, roux really cancels out negative energy. So hey, my little magic in a bottle. So what was I saying? I be all over the place, y'all. Let me Husa. Pisces symbol, or Jesus symbol, I should say, looks like a fish, but it also looks like a yoni as well. So when I think about Piscean energy, the Christ energy, if you ever heard of the Sibyls, or the first prophets ever in the world, were a group of women, they were called the Sibyls. And a lot of their prophecies were stolen and placed in the Bible and cloaked as these were Christ prophecies and things like that. So the whole Piscean energy, who's to say that Christ wasn't a woman? I be thinking a little too deep into shit sometimes. I do. I'm not going to lie. I ponder things deeply, I guess you could say. But the Pisces symbol is a fish, right? It's depicted as a fish. The Christ symbol, I think it's the 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗃 Pisces, I think it's called. Hey, Oya. Hey, Ilani. How y'all doing? I think it's called the 𝗥𝗃𝗃 Pisces, the Christ symbol, where it looks like a fish, but it looks like a yoni as well. And then when you think about the original Holy Trinity, at least to what we're taught, is Christ, God, and the Virgin Mary. But the Holy Spirit, excuse me, the Holy Spirit, Christ, and God. But in ancient Kemet, it was Aset and Asir, or as some of us know, Isis and Osiris, and Heru. So their son, their child. Then if you take the Ankh symbol from Egypt, it kind of looks like a cross, doesn't it? And it kind of looks like that 𝗥𝗃𝗃 Pisces. It almost looks like a fish, like a yoni, and then a phallic symbol. If you split it apart, it's just a cross, like what we see with Christ imagery. To me, and I don't want to make this a too like Christian versus spirituality. I don't want to do that too much, but the symbolism of things. So, and I don't also want to make this male versus woman type, men versus woman, but when you think about the Bible, it does kind of diminish women a lot in the Bible. It discredits women quite a bit. So when I think about the crucifixion, the symbol of Christ is the cross, and then the key of life being the Ankh. It almost looks like a spell casting of representing, like, this is your key to life, is the sacrifice that Christ gave you, when it's actually like, it looks like a curse to me. So if something like such as the Ankh is the key to life, it is representative of the male and female, the unity within self, and then outwardly the unity of man and woman, or just, collective consciousness or collective connectedness. And then you have this cross that looks like it's, you know what I mean? Like, it represents death, it represents sacrifice and suffering, like, and we wear that shit around our necks and stuff like that. I be thinking about stuff like that. But anywho, I wanted to go ahead and use 3 different decks. The Siren energy, which is Pisces energy. Okay. So Pisces energy, I'm going to tap into the Siren and the Mermaid energy. And I think Tuesdays are the feast day of Saint Martha or Santa Martha, which is also depicted sometimes as a serpent being or a mermaid being. So I'm going to use the mermaid energy because we talked about that Ankh and the cross. I'm going to use my Egyptian tarot deck, and I'm also going to use the Christ consciousness deck, which I feel like represents Pisces energy as well. So we're going to tap in, okay? We're just going to leave it open. We're going to see what we get, okay? I know my philosophies be like, what the hell is she talking about? But child, it's all going to make sense, okay? It's all going to make sense. I'm going to start off with the Egyptian tarot first, okay? And then, you said Morte means Tuesday. Oh, right. Yeah. So Santa Muerte. Yeah, Saint Martha. If you look her up, it's usually a woman. She got like a little afro, kind of like, you know, like a little look like a Jerry Curl afro, kind of, and she has like a serpent around her. Sometimes she's depicted as a mermaid. I think people get her energy confused sometimes with Mami Wata sometimes too, because they kind of similar imagery, just a little bit. But yeah, Martha means death. Yes, it does. It sure does. All right. I don't know. I just thought about Morticia from the Addams Family. She gives off very siren energy too, if you ask me. Very seductive, very dark, feminine energy. Let's see. Morticia just sounds like death. The name itself sounds like death. It's really weird because as much as like Pisces energy can be depicted as very mystical and magical and stuff like that, Pisces, or especially Neptune energy, can be quite heavy, like almost like Saturn, like how Saturn is depicted. Neptune also has that heavy quality to it, especially with the eclipse season. It's like spirit is saying, no more with the illusions and the delusions. Okay, no more of that within yourself, in your whatever, your outer world. No more of that energy. Mm-hmm. Right. Where's Gomez at? You know, I knew that phone was gonna fall. I felt it, but I could see the comments from here. So my other phone is like my monitor. If I don't have moderators on here, I can make some of y'all monitors if you don't mind. If you see some stupid shit, just hit hide user off the channel. You know, if y'all want to be a moderator, let me know. I can add you on real quick. But what was I gonna say? Just slipped my mind. Just completely just slipped my mind what I was gonna say. Oh, Pisces energy can be quite heavy. So with the eclipse, it's kind of like, no, we're not delving into the illusions anymore. It's over and done with. I've been going down rabbit holes a lot lately, like things. I feel like stuff with my childhood. One in particular, I have a very fond love for a music artist, and like many people, I was under kind of like a little bit of a spell, thinking that this person was almost godlike and just like, oh my god. They have a Pisces moon, so I have Pisces in my North Node, so I don't even want to get too personal, but just like spirit revealed something to me with my, my North Node and all of that, and then the Virgo being my South Node. This artist is Virgo too. I just went down a rabbit hole of this person, and the things that I've seen about them, I don't like. The things that really, I feel like a veil is been kind of lifted, like, and a thing to not worship people, because I feel like sometimes, not even just like celebrities, but just people in our lives, sometimes we walk around and kind of put people on pedestals and things like that, or we've been so brainwashed. And I feel like that's the same thing with Christianity, when I kind of like that whole thing crash and burn, like seeing Christianity from a whole nother lens and being like, oh my god, like it blows your mind, right? Like, what the fuck, like what I thought I knew or what I was taught, those illusions have to come crashing and burning down. So that Piscean energy is like the darkness coming to light and clashing with the Aquarian age. Aquarian age is, in order for us to reinvent and redefine or create something that's never been done before, we have to dismantle, we have to expose and dismantle and purify and cleanse out the illusion. And I feel like that's how Pisces and Aquarian energy come into play, if that makes sense. Yeah. And so I was like, this motherfucker was a master manipulator and magician, like, goddamn, like this person was like, like, and I don't feel like we'll ever fully know the truth. Maybe not. But I feel like spirit uses celebrities because it's something that the world stage can view and see, or like very prolific people on a world stage, on TV and things like that, to show you as a, not so much like to focus too much on the individual, on the vessel, but pay attention to the energy, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't know. And that's why I feel like the entertainment industry, like, that's gonna fall. I just, like, as we know it, that shit's gonna fall. It is. It's going to. It is falling. It is. It is. What is the energy of this collective message or anything that wants to come through? It may or may not have anything to do with what we're talking about, but I don't know. Like, I feel like the record, record or movie industry and all that stuff, all the illusions of Hollywood, all that shit, the spell casting, that shit is gonna fall apart. I'm telling you, it already is. Like, it's busting at the seams. Like, it's like you're trying to put on a girdle that don't fit. That shit gonna be, you know how the buttons pop? I don't know if anybody's, this is so stupid, but this is what came to me. Anybody that's ever had like a girdle, little waist trainer that had a little buttons, you got to put them in the little hooks, and they like go down like this, and then you put it on, the shit too tight because the stuff is like popping out, like the hooks ain't hooking, or they kind of like bending open. It's kind of like that, like the whole entertainment industry, like they trying to keep it in wraps and keep it tight, keep it cute, but it's starting to like bust at the seams. It's like, nah, no. So yeah, you gotta deal with your shadows as well. Deal with your shadows. What's blocking you? What illusions are you feeding into? And what are your dreams or your aspirations that are truly in alignment? So in order to see clear, like, if your glasses are dirty and you're trying to see things from a dirty lens, you're not going to be able to see things too clear. It's not until you cleanse and clear your vision that you'll be able to see things clearer. Does that make sense? So before you set any intentions on this full moon or whatever you're trying to do, or if that, make sure you do some clearing work. Sit with yourself. What do I need to clear out? What illusions do I need to deal with and address within myself? What have I been running from? Especially if you got some Pisces placements in your chart, sit with that. Sit with that. Okay. Do some, and then since it's water energy, spiritual baths would be perfect around this time. Like, do some spiritual baths, take some time to cleanse your energy, set intentions to do that. Use some salt water or some Himalayan salt, something with salt, kind of like oceanic energy, waters. If you do work with your water deities, and I know some people demonize, the marine spirits and the dog, whatever. If you have one, do some clearing work, healing, some work, some paying homage to your ancestors or your, that whole thing. I know, y'all. We gonna get to it. I promise. I'm a channel. With or without the cards, we just flowing through it. We're just going with it, okay? All right, first card out is the Magician. It's the Magician. Shout out to him. Hey, the Magician card came out. And he is Sun in Leo in this deck. Interesting. Any of y'all Sun in Leos? First card out, Magician. What you talking about, Magician? What you talking about? I'm not going to do any reversals, but you have the presentment. And I'm not sure what placement this is, but we're going to tap into that. This is a unique tarot deck. Like, some Egyptian tarot decks have a system. So it's not like the traditional tarot where you have, some of the words might be similar to the major arcanas, but once you get out of the majors and you go to the aces all the way through the court cards, they're not going to have those traditional names on them. They're going to have numbers instead of like the Ace of Swords. It's going to be whatever the number is, in alignment to it. So all the way up to 78 is what you're going to see. So let's keep going. So you have number 65 with learning. That is a moon placement. I think it's just a moon placement. Number 29 with domesticity. Domesticity. My goodness. Thank you. There we go, Spirit. Because I'm just like, I can't talk. Tongue tied. Initiation. This is Mars. I think this is Mars in Pisces. I'm going to have to look into this. Okay. Initiation, I believe, is going to be our last card out of this deck. And then I'm going to pull from the Christ Consciousness, and I'm also going to pull from the Mermaid Oracle deck too. So let's start with this Magician energy, because this is the Piscean energy. Even though this is depicted as the Sun in Leo, this could have something to do with your purpose. I was going to say birthright, but it didn't come out of my mouth, but purpose. From very young, I feel like there could have been things that you were taught via your parents or something with your bloodline. Hold on. Of course, this card would fall. Something with your bloodline. Mother and father, the things that were taught to you. You have learning, this child sitting on their father's lap. The things that you were taught as a child, the things that they were taught, handed down to you. Feel like you kind of fell into this trap or this illusion of how you're supposed to live your life or lead your life, based off of these constructs, maybe. Like, because some of you guys are very powerful, and I don't even want to say some of you. I feel like majority of you that are meant to see this, first card out was a Magician. You're very powerful. You have a lot of skill, a lot of talents and gifts, and I don't even feel like you've tapped into them all. It's almost like I don't feel like your parents did this to harm you, the things that they taught you. They were only doing what they were told or what they were taught, and maybe things that they believed, and they kind of conditioned themselves, and then therefore it kind of rubbed off on you because this is what they taught you. Luckily for some, you do have parents that are aware of things. They're aware of spiritual principles and truths, very knowledgeable, because this son and this father, they have ankh necklaces. So some of you did not go through the programming of Christianity like some of us did. Some of you didn't have to go through the Catholic conditioning or the Judaism or the what's the other one, Jehovah's Witness. You didn't have to go through that conditioning, that programming. I feel like some of you, your parents were kind of like free of that religious conditioning. So maybe you grew up with these principles already. But I feel like I'm speaking to more so people that are freeing themselves of these and have been freeing themselves, because once you, and if it's not religion specifically, because I don't want to just make it too specific, this conditioning can be anything. Once you free yourself of this energy, whatever that conditioning was, it's like it's initiating you to another level in your journey, like initiating you through, because she's carrying the key. It's like passing off. Yeah. I'm also getting to like some of your parents, or one of your parents, if not both, one of them most definitely, and I feel like it's the father. The father was not conditioned in Christianity, or it could be the opposite. The mother may have been the one conditioned and the father wasn't, or the father was conditioned and the mother was not. But the father is carrying the key of life, the ankh, in his hand. In this card, he's wearing it around his neck very proudly, and the child's wearing it around their neck proudly. And then the initiation card is the woman carrying the ankh. So yeah, for some of you, you are carrying the principles of your father. That makes sense, which is interesting, or in a way that is in alignment with your path. Because your father, not to say that a parent couldn't still be conditioned even though they weren't programmed into Christianity or some type of faith or something like that. They could still have their own childhood traumas and things outside of that. They could have, rubbed off on you in a sense. So, Some of you might be called to cleanse, do something with the stomach, like a stomach cleanse or fast. Because I'm not getting that it's just food that you need to clear your body of, or toxins of food. I'm getting this like energy, like energy that's needing to be like cleansed out of you. Stored up energy, emotional trauma, things like that, being washed out of you. I want to read the meaning of these cards from this book. Like I said, this is a unique tarot deck. I like to use my intuition first, but I don't want to just discount the meanings of the cards. This deck is called the Eternal Tarot, if you're interested. I've had this deck probably since 2019 or 2020, and I don't use it all the time, so I'm not familiar with everything in this deck. So let's start with the Magician. The Magician, let's see. So the forecasting element, which is the divinational meaning in this deck, is it promises dominion of material obstacles, new social relations, happy initiatives, the concourse of loyal friends who aid the development of projects, and jealous friends who obstruct it. So that's that catch-22. Separation. Okay, Pisces energy is eclipsing shit out. If something needs to go, let it go. Okay, you don't want to hold on to the illusion of anything. You don't want to project how you want to see people, how you want to see things over the truth of what it really is. So that's why I'm where I'm at right now with stuff. Like, I'll let people just go. You can go. I'm not gonna fight for anything. If you're not supposed to be in my life, then so be it. Bye. Have a nice day. It is what it is, right? So, yeah. So again, going back to this, it says it promises dominion over material obstacles and new relations and happy initiatives. So, under this energy, you have the ability to overcome any negativity in your life. But again, I feel like that separation, you got to have that separation. The Magician card is very in tune to the spirit. You know, he shows that as above, so below position. As above, so below, as it is in earth, as it is in heaven. Two things can be true at once. So whatever's going on in the heavens most likely is being depicted in the physical realm, right? And if you look at the physical realm and see it, you also can tap in and see that the same can be true in the spirit, if that makes sense. Also, too, what I feel like is when you tap into utilizing that Piscean energy to be able to see between worlds and tap in and to be able to visualize, or maybe even your dreams revealing things to you, the messages, the symbolism is giving you insight into things around you in your everyday life. Like when you have dreams, they're oftentimes symbolic. They're not necessarily like that specific, like boom boom, this happened, there was a duck boat that picked me up and I went in the boat with the duck, or the duck shaped boat, and then I bumped into Queen Elizabeth, and that means that's gonna happen in real life. It's symbolic. It means something, right? If there's people in your dreams, before you jump the gun and think that it's connected to the person, sometimes it's not always that way. Sometimes either the person's name will be relevant. It could be what was their character in the dream, how did they make you feel in the dream, because that will reveal something more to you. Or what role did they play in the dream? Are they mirroring something to you? Is it something that maybe you need to embody more of, that you see in that person that's in your dream? Or is it something that you need to separate from, a characteristic or something like that? All right, I'm gonna move on to the presentment, and that's number 40. Okay, presentment as an instructional knowledge symbolizes the human virtue of anticipated knowledge of what shall occur. So, as an element of prediction, it promises a very well retributive, oh my god, work, applications, reflections, attraction, sympathy, seduction, threat of ruin, mortifying affections. So I feel like this is the union between you and your parents, or your parents' union that brought you into play. I know this is probably gonna sound crazy, but yeah, I feel like this was already predestined. It was already set to happen. You were supposed to go through this process. The principles and the things that you were taught, whether they were good or bad, you needed to know them. You need to go through that. I'm gonna get into the initiation card in a second, but I feel like this is telling a story. Let's go to 65, which is learning with the child and their father. Let's see. Learning as a teaching and warning symbolizes the human virtue of knowledge through experience. The forecasting element is as an element of prediction. It promises internal and external teachings, defects and virtues, ascensions and descents, protection granted by a person major in age and in status, more joy for the coming future than the joy which present is supposedly presenting. So like I said, whatever that you learned, good or bad, it serves a purpose into your future. And I feel like that depends on the person. That depends on what you do with the insights that you get, what you do with the wisdom, what you do with knowing, like, okay, I'm going to eat this food for thought, but I'm going to spit out whatever does not align, does not serve me, that's not helpful, that's not healthy. You're able to dissect that and discern that. So that's different. Number 29 is domesticity. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Is an act of concord. Symbolizes the virtue of human domination by means of persuasion. The forecast element, as an element of prediction, it promises remorse, indecisions, perplexities, timidity, pastoral life, advantages, affairs, enterprises that bring struggles but with satisfactory outcomes. Like I said, trial and error, right? I'm going to walk this path because this is what I was kind of conditioned to do. This is how my mama did it. This is how my daddy did it. This is how my grandma did it. This is how so-and-so did it. This is how our neighborhood, our culture, our race does it. And if you're meant to walk a different path, this energy is going to throw you off guard a little bit. Where are my Pisces North nodes at? Everybody's path is a little bit different. I feel for some of you, especially if you have like a Pisces North node, or you have a Aquarian even Pisces, or Aquarian North node and a Pisces North node, your path is going to be a little bit taboo to the normal person. More of a kind of like an inventive energy, kind of like a, what's the right word I'm looking for? Whether it's creative pursuits and teachings, whether it's science or just technology and creating different things, I feel like whatever you're contributing, maybe it didn't resonate with people at a certain time, or it wasn't supposed to, but there's a time and place for everything. You had to learn your skills, your gifts. You had to tap into your own calling, your own destiny to figure it out. Your path is going to be unique. It's something that has not been done before. So you're not supposed to fit into the mold of what everybody else is doing. That is why you're not excelling. That is why you're not succeeding. Maybe for a time, if you catch the wave at the right time and you fit into what's normal or what's popular, what's trending. But what you find is your path is not always going to be easy. It's not going to be easy peasy, especially if you're following a path or a timeline or something that you're supposed to give birth to that's uniquely your own. A lot of people are hive-minded. If it's not something that looks like what everyone else is doing or what everybody else is into or what's so-called popular, what looks good on paper, not a lot of people are going to gravitate to it. But there will be those that will, because later you're going to find it's like the great inventors. Their inventions may have not been much to people at the time. Maybe they were way forward thinking, way forward thinking. So let's say, for instance, like, I don't know, the telephone or a cell phone, like someone being able to visualize that in their own mind, how a cell phone is going to work and how it's going to operate, or how a telephone is going to work and operate. And they may not be able to live to see it being used on a large scale. Now it's just this thing that we carry around all the time. It does a mad amount of different things that people back in the day would never be able to even fathom in their own imagination. But one person was able to. One person, that was their seed that they conceived within themselves, that they could see that vision, even if no one else could. So some of you guys may be way ahead of your time. Not saying that you probably won't, do well with your gifts or your talents or your inventions or whatever you bring to the table, or your energy is not going to be something you get to experience in this lifetime that people resonate with or that's helpful to people. But think of it that way. Like, there's brilliant people and geniuses that have come up with things that we look at now as just like everyday average things. We don't think twice about it. It's become an everyday norm for us, that someone was able to in their time see it and no one else around them could see it. They probably thought they were crazy. They probably thought it was stupid. They probably thought this is useless, right? Doesn't make sense. But fast forward, you know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. Number 36, initiation. So it says initiation as a reviving act symbolizes the virtue of progressive actualization of human powers. The forecasting element, it says, as an element of prediction, it promises births, new beginnings, premises, forthcoming fortune, success in businesses, dissipations, and declinations. So, as you allow new things to come in, you have to allow things to fall at its wayside or cleanse it and purify it out. Okay? Let it rain and clear it out. I don't know why I'm getting something with 2029, but I can't make out what it could be. 2029. That's, it feels like it's a long ways from now, but not really, because it's the time be flying nowadays, so I can't really say. Something with Scorpio energy as well. I want to say that an animal could go extinct, but I don't want to predict things like that because I love animals. But I feel could be a particular animal. I want to say a gazelle or something. I don't know, something with, I don't know, extinction. My goodness, can't talk. I don't know. I don't know why that would come out. All right, so let's see. The Christ consciousness card says, stand up, steadfast vision, child. So you're not the only person that has it's almost like you feel at times like you feel behind, but at the same time you're ahead. And you may know this, like I said, like with inventive minds, creative minds, prophetic minds, sometimes could feel like they're behind because they don't feel like what they're bringing to the table fits into the demographic or the market, right, of whatever, say technologies, let's say philosophies, let's say fashion trends, or whatever visual creative energies, sciences, things like that, is beyond what we see right now. So some people might feel like, oh, I'm behind, but in actuality you're forward thinking, you're way ahead of your time. So if you're thinking from like a here right now, of course people are not going to understand it fully unless their mind may be in the kind of like a similar realm where they're able to see beyond things. They can kind of go into and be like, I can see that. Or that fashion style may be weird to some people, but it's like, it's futuristic. Some people gravitate to it, some people don't. Like, I may not agree with everything Kanye says or what he wears and all that stuff, but some people, they understand it, they get it, you know what I mean? They can conceive it to a degree, and maybe they're supposed to, maybe some people are not supposed to, I don't know, I'm just saying as an example. But stand up for your visions, be bold in your convictions, because I trust and believe, as much as it seems like you're the only one or you're alone and nobody gets you and this and that, you have not met every single billion person, whatever count number of billion people in this world. You have not met everyone, you have not talked to, you not have engaged, and not every person in this world has seen you. So you can't just be like, oh, nobody understands me, nobody gets me, when in actuality there's a whole bunch of people like you with their own torches of light, with their own visions, their own light. And it's needed. It's like they're all standing together. They're all standing together. If people could just get out of this hive-minded space and learn how to, because humanity to me is this. Humanity is not accepting people only if, or I can only accept you if you conform or you're like this. It's like, or I'm going to pretend like I don't see your sexuality, that you identify as gay or trans. I'm not going to, oh, you're just a human to me. Like, I get it. Like, yes, I get what you're saying, that you're not holding them. But if that's who they are, let's say, Okay, let's say you're black, you're Indian, or you're Caucasian, and then you say, I don't see your color. No, you better see my color. You better see all the culture and all of that I am, so that you embrace who I am. Like, this is who I am. So to say that you don't see it, I get what you're saying. Like, I'm not holding you to, I'm only your friend because, or I can't be your friend because of this, or I can't be with you because of this or because of that. To accept people as they are allows a space of people to be their authentic selves and not try to conform or put them in a box, or to deny and ignore parts of them that they are. I feel like it's true humanity. Walking around saying you don't see color, you don't see gender, that's bullshit. See it, respect it, embrace it, love it. You know what I mean? That's true humanity to me. If we can accept each other for real, it would be, the world would be so much different if you allow people to just be who they are. And same goes, like, if a person does not fit into a trend, or they're not talking about this, or they're not, their career paths are a little bit different, or they look different, or they talk different, and you count them out, and then later on it becomes a trend to be a certain way. Like, black people that, let's say, I'm just going to use this example, being a black nerd was never cool back in the day. At least when I was growing up, people did not like black nerds. Okay? Black people that liked anime, that was not a cool thing back then for people. People used to make fun of, like, black kids that were into anime, especially black kids on their own. Like, they would make fun of other black kids that liked anime. It was not cool to be a nerd. Now all of a sudden it's like this cool trendy thing, you know, it's cute and it's alternative. Like, that was never people, you know. So you see what I'm saying? Like, people, it takes time for people to, like, hop on things, and that's a bad thing about trends. Instead of just allowing people to be who they are, like, okay, he or she is into anime, or he or she, you know, I don't know, it's like things that were taboo and weren't cool, that weren't cute, now all of a sudden everybody wants to be a part of it. Now everybody is something. And this is another thing too, like, I hate labels. Obviously, if you identify with a certain sexuality, or you are a certain race or a culture or whatever, a gender, you can't help that, right? But, like, kind of all these labels, you know, I'm this and I'm that, I'm a trans frog, and all this shit. I just don't understand it. Everybody's, you know, might ruffle some feathers, but everybody's neurodivergent now. Everybody's on the spectrum now, and these are things, again, that people would make fun of. Now everybody wants, I'm autistic, I'm on the spectrum. Do y'all just be saying this shit so y'all can get away with shit? Do y'all just be saying it to be cute or something? Like, what? Damn you, TikTok. I blame TikTok. I blame Twitter. I blame all that shit. I do. And if it's true, if it's real and you're proud, okay, that's you. That's who you are. But I just hate fads. I hate labels. I cannot. I simply cannot. All right, mermaid energy, siren energy, Pisces message for everybody. It's not just for Pisces people, but we are in a Pisces full moon, in case you just now popping up. I'm going to have to change this title. 'Cause it's not even a title. It just says I'm alive. It says I'm live on here. So I have to change it to something. Transparency. It says honest, authentic, genuine, and present. Okay. Kind of similar with the purple. You see? The purple, the violet, the third eye, or the crown. Like, the vision of who you are, the more the better that you truly tap into your authentic self. Like, truly. Even if it's scary. Because I feel like, again, people feel comfortable with presenting themselves in a way that they feel like is palatable for people. And if you have to do that, you essentially, the energy that you put out is, if you're not comfortable with being your whole authentic you to some degree, like, you might like parts of yourself, you may be proud of yourself to certain degrees, but there could be, let's say, your visions, your dreams, your goals, your gifts, your information, whatever it is, that represents that Pisces and Aquarian energy, because I'm getting both energies coming through, but we're going to stick to the Pisces mainly. But whatever Pisces and Neptunian energy represents, like that part of yourself that you cloak and you hide, or maybe that you're ashamed of, to when you hide that part, you cloak it. Essentially, the energy that you're putting out is you're going to attract people, places, and things that are also not fully authentic and truly simply do not resonate with the true core of who you are. Sometimes you will encounter people that see through it, that will love you. They know they are meant to call that thing out of you, or they're meant to speak that life into that part of yourself that you're trying to hide, that you're trying to cloak. They're meant to be that person that bursts that bubble so that you see yourself, or it helps you to awaken so that you find the truth of that core self that you're hiding. Sometimes it's like it's brushed up under all this gunk, all these things that you were taught. Like I said, this card with the learning card, it's learning and unlearning, I feel like, at the same time. The things that you learn, some things you have to unlearn, knowing what to, what to chew on and then what to spit out. Like, I'm going to spit the bones out, spit the fat out. We're not eating that. Same thing with when we hear information. You have to discern what's for you, what's not for you, or what's healthy for you and what's not healthy for you. I'm going to pull another mermaid card. Okay. I don't know how to pronounce this animal, but it's these little cute, little chubby, little sea lion things. The 𝗥𝗂𝗿𝗆, I think is how you pronounce it, and her skin, reclaiming your authenticity. Come on, y'all. Come on. Can y'all see that? Or does it look like a mirror image? Probably because it is a mirror. We're holding towards each other, if you will. So yeah, I don't know. And then at the bottom of the deck, you have guide, a mentor, or a trustworthy ally. So yeah, like I said, at the bottom of the deck, that could represent people around you that remind you of who you are. They're meant to, because they can see. They're seers too. I'm gonna pull some more from the Christ consciousness card, and then I'll probably just close this thing out, because y'all know sometimes it can go like, what the hell does this have to talk about? Just stick with it, just hang in there, hear me out. No, I'm only taking what you're meant to. All right. Stop. You have Paul, awakening and transformation. I think Paul was the one that turned on Christ. If I'm not mistaken, he was the one that was like, oh, I would never deny you, master. And then when it came down to it, he was like hiding in the back. Like, I don't know him. I don't follow him, because he was afraid of the prosecution. He was afraid of, it's either Paul or Peter. Let me look it up real quick. My other phone fell on the floor. I got my iPad. Bar goes down. Let's see. Siri, where you working at? She's like, bitch, I don't know what you're talking about. Let me see. Paul. Which disciple betrayed Christ? Not Judas. Let's just say denied Christ. Let's see. Which disciple denied Christ? Because we know Judas. He's like the OG. It was Peter. Okay. Paul was in prison though. Okay. All right. So Paul, awakening and transformation. Didn't he have a tragic end? Which one of his people was crucified upside down? I don't know which one that was. Was it Peter too? I don't know. I'm getting them all mixed up. The P's. I don't know. Okay, so Ilani says that Peter was the one that denied Christ. All right. Paul's energy. Paul was in prison. Oh, y'all said. Okay. I still want to talk about Peter. I'm going to come back to Paul, though. I'm going to come back. The Peter energy, to me, what I get, because I feel led to talk about this. It's kind of like, if it's not another person, it could be a sin against yourself. When you deny when you deny the truth of certain things. So whether it's denying a truth or being a betraying or something against another person or someone that you love, it can also be sometimes that we betray ourselves. When we lie to ourselves, we betray ourselves. He denied him 3 times. Yeah, and Christ told him he was going to do that. He told him he was going to do that. I don't know. Like, as a human, I have to be honest. Like, there's been times where I have denied myself multiple times. And as much as I would say, oh, I would never do that to myself. Oh, I'm going to stand up for myself. Or, oh, no, I'm going to be, I'm going to be real about it. And then when it comes down to it, you feel that pressure to fold and to fall in, or because you don't want to be outcasted, or because you don't want to look crazy, you don't want to look stupid, you don't want to look a certain way, you don't want to be shamed, but you're sinning against yourself. It was Peter. That was, oh, damn. He had a hard time. It's karma. I'm just, that is karma. I want to know the story of Paul. He might have, it's either, who was his cousin? His cousin, John the Baptist, I think was his cousin. Hey. I know, I just saw your text. I had to use my iPad, so I seen your text message. Otherwise, it's not going to come through my phone. It's on Do Not Disturb. But I will message you back, sis, when I get off. I don't know. I feel like, there's something significant about his story, and I don't know. Let me see. Because I be getting confused with these people. Because the one that walked on water, I don't remember. Yeah. We do it all the time. I mean, I feel like that's a human thing to do that. Let's see. We do it all the time. We self-sacrifice. And it's not always a good thing. Who was disciple Paul in the Bible? He was not an apostle. Okay. Paul lived as a Pharisee and participated in the persecution of early disciples of Jesus, possibly. Oh, okay. I think I remember his story. If I'm not mistaken, yes, he was someone that was coming against the disciples and trying to discredit them, things like that. And then he had a revival. He turned around, and I think he became, if I'm not mistaken, he became a spreader of the gospel. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that was his story. So if that is the case, then I'm going to say, as far as like the information or the guidance that we're to take from that with the awakening and transformation, is that we might have went down a certain path for a time because we had to, in order to come to some type of clarification or some type of truth. Let's say, for instance, we wholeheartedly believe that this is the life that I'm supposed to be living. This is the path, because whether that was what we were taught, or that's because that's what was going on around the time socially, that this is what we should believe in, this is what we should go for. And you have that moment of truth. You have that moment of awakening that changes your mind and changes the course of your path. That could be relevant to some degree. I had to do all that just to get to that. God damn. Oh, Lord. I don't know how to pronounce this, but it looks like it says 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗆, like Terrence Howard, 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗆. The darkest hour of strength arrives. So remember, this is where Jesus was like, he was about to be crucified. He's about to go into that crucifixion, and he was in the forest, he was in the wilderness. And he said, God, if you could pass this cup, I know I got to do this. Whatever this is you got me doing, I know I'm supposed to do it. But if you can, just take this, if we can do something different, if I ain't got to go through this, if I can do something a little bit different, oh, please, God, let me do it. But if it be in your will, it is what it is. And then here comes the army. Here come the police of that time, I guess. The authorities coming to come pick him up. And who's pointing him out? The motherfucker Judas is pointing him out. Like, there he is. So what does this mean, Spirit? I feel like sometimes, like, when we're in the doves out here crying, I love them Terrence Howard memes. They're so funny. My favorite one is Boys to Men. That's my favorite one. It's Boys to Men. That's funny. But I don't know. I'm kind of getting like a message that sometimes we know we got to go through our darkest hour and we don't want to. We know we have to. We know that it's a thing. It's inevitable that sometimes in life we're going to have to go through shit we don't want to. And sometimes that, to kind of bring us into that space of dealing with ourselves, we have to have that shadow figure, whether it's in another person or persons, or Judas can represent that working against our self spirit, where we sabotage ourselves, or where we betray ourselves. Sometimes that has to happen by design to get us to where we need to be. Have you ever heard, whatever the enemy uses for your bad turns out for your good? Sometimes we are our greatest enemy. We can't blame it on an entity all the time. Oh, it's the dark forces. Oh, it's the devil. Oh, it's Satan. Oh, it's Lucifer. Oh, it's this hating ass bitch. Or oh, it's my mom. Or oh, it's my dad. Or oh, it's my cousin. And this and my... No. Sometimes it's you. Sometimes it is you. I like to look at the Bible because it's not really historical anyway. I mean, that you can... Some of the stuff you just be like... Really? Like, we know that some of the shit did not happen in the Bible. For one, the first thing that they did was a pot of lies, was to say that a woman came out of a rib of a man. If you're going to say something like that, you could have said she came out of his dingling, out of his balls or something. Like something like some type of organ that makes, like, but not what the rib? I don't know. It just don't make sense. And then just the woman itself. So like, oh, we're going to take the rib and just make this woman, and then she's going to become this vessel that bursts people out of her, her yoni. That don't make no sense. Why? If that's the case, then why ain't he popping them out his balls? If you can create, or out of his rib, like, I'm going to create some kids out of my rib. And now you got like a whole baby back rib stack of people, of human beings. Because this one man was just like, you get a rib. Okay, here's my son right here, and here's my other son right here, and this is my daughter. Like, that's fucking crazy to me. That's like to teach a child that is like, you trying to brainwash a child. Like, you have to be like, I love the Bible, don't get me wrong. I feel like you're supposed to read it with another eye, not literally with your two eyes, or like a storybook, like a child, like you reading it, or a historic book, like, yeah, the women came out of the rib. And then God just blew up. And then it just don't make no sense. It doesn't. So I do feel like a lot of the things are just psychological stories, like metaphysical, and then some astrological stories. If you think about it, again, the Christ, or the Jesus Christ, because like I said in the beginning of this live, I feel like Christ is a title. It is a organization, or it's an order of people. The Christ, just like the Marys. You have Virgin Mary, which who knows what her real name was. She could have been a priest. Yes, it's very incel. Like, an incel from way, way, way back then believed it, like, that this was going to be hot. Like, you know what? How can we convince that women, you ain't the creators of this universe? Like, the hell with you. A rib. What's your favorite food to eat? I love ribs. You like ribs? Yeah, I like ribs. Let's say that Eve, she came from a man's rib. I'm surprised they didn't say she came out of his penis, because men, the as we call it, the incels, like what Ilani said. I'm surprised they didn't say that. That's where my mind went to. Like, if you're gonna say something like that, like something that birthed from something, okay. Just like the yoni births people. Why not the dingling? Why the rib? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, doesn't make sense. But the Christ energy, yes. I'm going to go back to Pisces. The Christ, Jesus the Christ, as they try to depict him being a Capricorn, which makes no goddamn sense. It does not. It does not. Christianity within a whole. I need to go do that video. I have not done it yet, but I want to talk about Christianity and the church hurts, okay, that a lot of people go through, especially mystics or prophets or whatever you want to call it, seers, gifted people go through. It's a program that we have to go through. Do I believe that a Christ existed? I believe a lot of Christ existed. Do I believe in specifically Jesus the Christ? Yes, I do. They just picked out one of the Christ figures that they wanted to talk about, just like the Marys and the Magdalene. Those are a priestesshood. So I believe that Christ could be a priestess and a priesthood. I do believe that. But yeah, Christianity and astrology go hand in hand, but they will tell you that it does not. That is of the devil. You do not worship the stars. You do not try to discern the stars, but yet here we are looking at the stars talking about this is Jesus' constellation and the Christ, the Savior is coming. Whatever floats their boat. There's just a lot. It's a lot. And that's why I don't like going too much into debunking Christianity, because it's almost kind of contradictory. Because I do, in one hand, like I said, I do appreciate the Bible. I understand that some things can be taken in and added in, and it's so much controversy around this one book. It's like, what is this? Like, what is this book right here? This got people in a chokehold. What is it? It's like your favorite pop star, like that. It's just like they can do no wrong. Like, it's so many contradictions and so much stuff, and you just like, but I still stand. That's a spell. I think that's why people call it a motherfucking spell book, because it is. You can talk about the Psalms. Oh, the witches and the hoodoo, they use the Psalms for magic. No, the motherfucking book as a whole got people in a chokehold and a spell. I really believe that. Yeah. Hey. Yeah, the reading is just within the live, just completely within the live. We read from the start of this live without the cards, and we still reading. Yeah, the body of Christ, yeah, the blood in the body thing, that is a ritual, child. It is. That is a whole ritual. When I was a little kid, I used to think that shit was weird as fuck. But did I enjoy them dry ass crackers? Yes, I love the dry ass crackers, and I also love the juice. We couldn't drink wine we didn't have that. We didn't do the wine thing in my church. We did that Jewish juice, the juice that you get from the Jewish section. The bombest grape juice you ever want to try. I loved it. I loved the crackers, even though they was dry. They had like the little flaky kind of, they weren't too thick. They was like a thin type of cracker. I used to love that. Like, give me some more of that Jesus flesh. Let me have some of that. Okay, let me have some more of that. No, that is weird as fuck. It really is. It's strange as fuck. It is really crazy. I tell you, like, yes, I love the juice. I'm going to go to the Jewish section at the international market and go find me some, because it was so good. And I'm glad that I got to taste it and try it. But I didn't like the fact they gave us like little cups. These like these little plastic cups. Like just one sip is gone. They're like, you can't have too much of the Christ blood. You know how, vampires allegedly, they can only consume so much blood, right? So it's like, they got to make it realistic. Let's do the little. You can only have a little bit of Christ. Don't be stingy now, okay? He died for your sins. You ain't got no right drinking his blood like that. This just psychologically, when you think about it, when you think about this shit, it's really crazy. It sounds fucking crazy that this is what we're taught. That's some sick shit. It's some sick shit. He died for our sins, and we over here eating him symbolically. Why aren't we celebrating him or dancing or praising? We over here going, in the blood of the... Like, what? It's fucking sick. It's crazy as hell. I'm telling you, like, brainwashing at its finest, child. That's some crazy shit. Crazy. Very crazy. Yeah, just take a shot to Jesus. Like, here you go. All right, so-and-so, sister so-and-so, pass it to the children, and the children over there just like, okay. when is church gonna be over? So I can go home and play video games and like unprogram myself from the shit I just did. Wondering why kids is crazy and like, you know, you can't blame everything on music. You cannot. You can't blame everything on rap music and rock music having kids going crazy and movies. If anything, like my first participation in witchcraft was at church. And I'm taught that witchcraft is demonic. But y'all teaching me to eat my savior and celebrate the shit. Pass the Christ from the left hand side. Pass the Christ from the, what the fuck? That is crazy. That is crazy. I've never in my life. You just have to raise the question. If he died for my sins, why am I getting baptized? Why did Christ get baptized if he was already a sinless being? Why did John the Baptist, his cousin, say, come on, you need to be washed of yourself so that the dove can come into you, the Holy Spirit, when he should already been Holy Spirit filled? Can somebody tell me? Can somebody logically explain that to me? If he should already be Holy Ghost filled, okay, he should already been filled with the Holy Spirit, why is he getting baptized? Can somebody explain that to me? I want someone to explain it to me from the opposite. That where I can possibly ponder it. Yeah, I know Christianity in the South is a motherfucker. But a lot of them pastors and all that stuff in down there in the South, those are like the OG. Those are the OG witches out there. I think the founder, because my church that programmed me into Christianity was the Church of God in Christ. I don't know if the 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗀𝗀. I grew up in the 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗀𝗀𝗀. Baptist is like a whole nother sector of just messiness, child. But I think 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗀𝗀𝗀's founder was a hoodoo practitioner, if I'm not mistaken. Right. Why? Yeah, exactly. Why y'all call it ghosts? Why y'all call it the Holy Ghost? Say that necromancy is of the devil, and then in the same breath in the Bible, one of I can't remember who. I think it was Prophet Elijah, but I can't remember who was his understudy that wanted his gifts when he got taken up in the air. And there's a woman that I resonate with her channel. She breaks things down. In her depiction, she was saying that Prophet Elijah was taken up in the air by spaceships, based off of how they described this thing that came up and took him took him up in the air. Wasn't he was being taken up to heaven? He was possibly abducted, but his understudy or whatever, his mentee, went to a psychic or a medium, I guess, of that time, and he was trying to connect with Elijah. And he came to him and he was like, why have you summoned me? You need to do X, Y, and Z. You ain't supposed to be summoning me. So if that is of the devil and of Satan, and those are familiar spirits, those aren't really your mama, your granddaddy, and whoever else that passed away that's coming to you. It's a spirit. It's a demonic spirit tricking you. Why did Elijah pop up and was like, what you doing summoning me? Why are you calling on me? Why are you calling on me? Right? It's just so much stuff that I just be scratching my head and just be like, what the fuck did I just read? I got to go back and ask myself that. Like, what did I read? Because it's just too much contradiction. I don't think people really thought that through when they just sat here and just wrote this stuff and was like, we're going to, at the same time, we're going to try to criticize, psychics and mediums, as we call it, the abominations, the witches and the warlocks. But we're going to have, this guy that's trying to contact his mentor, his prophetic mentor, and ask him all these questions, and he pops the fuck up in the mediumship. So how y'all gonna demonize something? The shit works. To be absent from the body is to be with the Lord. But then there's some people that are in hell, right? So not everybody's body is absent and with the Lord. Some of them is in hell, right? Let them tell it. It's just too much. It's too much. I just wonder sometimes, like, what would the world be without religious programming? I just wonder that sometimes. Mary Magdalene, yes, that's why I said. That's why I believe that the Christs were mystics. They were a order. I don't feel like Jesus Christ was the only so-called, maybe the Christ that went through what we were taught he went through, but an order of Christ. I feel like there were multiple Christs, just like the Marys. There's not a whole bunch of these women like that. Just how ironic is it? How ironic is it that Jesus's mother happened to be a Mary, and then the woman that he allegedly took out off of OnlyFans, you know, he redeemed the OnlyFans woman, and took her under his wing, or she became one of his followers and allegedly his wife and the mother of his children, was a Mary. Could it be? Because this is according to one of my sisters, and I looked into it a little bit. As far as a Gnostic text, it makes sense that she was a priestess. She was a high priest. So I feel like the Marys were orders. Magdalene may very well have been her name. Mary was her order. Mary was her, I don't know, her priesthood name. Like, this is like in the church. This is sister so-and-so. This is brother so-and-so. What if it was like, you know, like that? Like Jesus was brother Christ. This is so-and-so, brother Christ. This is sister Mary. You know, I don't know. What if it was like that? Or deacons, you know, as the disciples or as the apostles. Apostle Paul. Jesus Christ, right? Apostle Christ. I feel like it's kind of the same. I could be wrong. I don't know. But yes, they had OnlyFans back then in Jerusalem. All the hoochies. All the Marys. You know, were they prostitutes? Because that's what they trying to make it seem like. She was just this stoned up OnlyFans priestess, high priest. I don't know. I was going to say something really foul, but I don't know if that's true. But it was like, back in the day, it was like these group of girls. I can't remember their names now. But they would they were called Taz's angels. I think it was allegedly, if I'm not mistaken, that it did come out that they was sex trafficking. The Taz angels. So like, was they like Taz angels? Like the Marys? Was they like, no. I feel like they were priestesses. Yep. They was touching them hymns. Jesus Christ must have been that dude. They was like, you know, have you heard about Christ? Like, girl, if you touch him or his garment, girl, you're gonna be healed. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it alone. Yes, but I do believe in Jesus the Christ. I do believe that. I feel though, like I said, it was an order that there were Christ beings back then. I do believe that. And could it actually be too that it's just my thought. I'm not saying that this is true or anything like that, because I really don't know. We really don't know. I feel like some of the stories of Christ could have been mixed up with another Christ figure. And if you watch that movie, it's actually kind of okay. It's making sense. If you actually watch this movie, I cannot remember the name of it, but it has 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗀𝗀. He's playing a character. I think he's supposed to be Thomas, or the brother of Thomas, one of Jesus's disciples or whatever. I cannot think of the name. Some of y'all probably know what it is. But it was like kind of showing like different people depicting themselves as like the Christ. And it was so interesting. I'm not explaining it well. It's on Netflix though. I do know that much. But it's something to like watch. I think it kind of makes you question that. Like the depiction of who Christ was and all this stuff. It's like, it's so mysterious. Like the book of, oh my God, what was it? Yeah, the book of something. What was it called? My brother would know. Just look up, no, not the book of Enoch. It was the same guy that did The Harder We Fall. So some of the same characters that were in The Harder They Fall was on there. Oh my God. All I know is Lakeith Stanfield was a main character. And I didn't watch the whole movie. My brother and my mom like it. I sat through some of it and I got to some of the scenes where they did the baptisms in the river, the Jordan River. the part where some of these men that look like the Christ, they had like 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗀𝗡, and then they had like, I think like 2 or 3 other Caucasian men that kind of look like what we were shown or what we've been brainwashed to believe, that this is what our Savior Christ looks like. This 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗀𝗡, or whatever his name is, that they use for that image to make that Christ, that everybody around the world, from Chinese to black people, got in their churches with that long 4C wavy body wave texture, 4B, whatever hair color, and them blue eyes as our Savior. That picture of that, what's his name, 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗀𝗡, I think is his name. He was some type of royal or something, and they took his image and painted this picture, and it was shopped around that this is what Christ looks like. And they went in the Book of Clarence. Thank you. Yes. Oh yeah, it's the Book of Clarence. That is the movie's name. It's on Netflix. If you care to watch it, don't think too deep into it of like, oh, this is blasphemous. I would say go into it looking at it, if you're able to look at movies from a symbolic place and not just too literal, like, because movie directors are clever in that way. They're just not putting stuff out just to be like, oh, here you go. They think well into these things. They use a lot of symbolic meanings and kind of Easter eggs and stuff. You just got to pay attention down to the songs that they play. Like if you listen to the lyrics of the songs and when it cues, like when it starts, and there's so many things that go into cinematic shit that they're not stupid. You know what I mean? So like watch the movie and I just look at it with your 2 eyes and be like, oh, this is blasphemous. They're trying to say that Jesus was a black man. The racism comes in. God forbid the so-called savior that we had could have been black. God forbid that, motherfucker. Oh, no, he came out of black womb. Oh, hell no. That's not real. It's not true. It's blasphemous. And it be coming out of black people's mouths, too. They be like, oh, it's blasphemous. It's interesting. Hell, Christ could have been a woman. We don't know that. I don't know. We don't know. We don't know that. We don't know anything. But I want you to watch that if you feel led to, with an open eye. The Book of Clarence. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to finish it off and see what I pick up. Because I seen parts of the movie. I didn't even watch the whole thing. But it's something, it is like a thought-provoking thing. It is. It's very thought-provoking. So, if you guys have time, go and watch the Book of Clarence. If you're not, too offended. As I was offended when I watched the story of Moses, played by Batman Christian Bale, and his Ethiopian wife looked like, I don't know, looked like Catherine Zeta-Jones or some shit. An Ethiopian woman. Imagine that. A brunette Caucasian woman. Imagine that. It's too much. I really, nobody questions that shit. Nobody said not a damn. Like, this don't make no sense. Christian Bale in Egypt, how he blending in? Moses had to been like, I don't know. You could have picked somebody that looked Arabic. You could have picked somebody that, if you didn't want to get a black man, just say that. Or you could have got a biracial man. You could have got a Latino man that was a little tan. But you wouldn't got Christian Bale. And Christian Bale is, I just... Even though Christian Bale, Moses was supposed to be a Hebrew, right? But he blended in with the Egyptians. And the Egyptian, as we know, probably were kind of like darker than me, if not darker. And then, of course, you did have some biracial Egyptians at a time when they had some of, I think the Roman Empire was involved. I'm not sure. But ain't nobody coming out looking like no Christian Bale at that time, sitting there and talking about you blending in with the, ain't nobody, no. And it's not to be racist, because I know people be like, oh my God, every time you talk about things like this, you're being racist. No. It's just common sense. But I know that some people are oblivious to white privilege, or they choose to be blind to white privilege, and they don't question things, and you better not question it. You better not do it. You better not challenge us. You better not challenge what we want to depict, It's sad that a cartoon was historically factual with what an Egyptian looked like over these fucking movies with your Elizabeth Taylors and shit sitting. No, that's not factual. It's not. If anything, her color probably was as light as Beyonce, and that's as light as probably she was. But no, we can't do that. But Hollywood is heavily racist, and heavily racist in that time especially. They ain't putting no Dorothy, because Dorothy Dandridge could have played Cleopatra. That would have been more believable. But no, we ain't doing that. We're not gonna do that. You cannot be any darker than a brown paper bag to play this role. You can't. We're not going to get into that. But the Book of Clarence, it kind of goes into all of that, where they do show some depictions of like a black Christ. They show depictions of white Christ. So, it's interesting. Hell, like I said, if Christ was a priest order, who's to say that there wasn't a whole bunch of different color of people in there? And Jesus Christ might have been black. We don't know that. Let Putin tell it. He put out his little secret box and was like, I got a secret. We have this black Virgin Mary depiction and her child all over Spain and shit, and have celebrations and feast days. But when we come somewhere to some of these places and she look like she white as snow, I don't know what's true. What is what? We don't know. But racism and Christianity go very well together. They do. They go so well together. They promote slavery, obey your master. It's beautiful, right? It's lovely. That's why conservatives love Christianity so much, because it fits into the narrative of white supremacy. Anyway, I'm gonna close this thing out. I don't want to do too much. Yeah, Elizabeth Taylor is clear, but yeah, no. The makeup and the fashion was popping. I will give her that. Whoever did that, like the styling and all that her makeup and shit. That was lovely. Yeah, the aesthetic, as a Halloween costume or something, or a photo shoot, that's cute. But to try to depict something historically as accurate, that was a flat out fail, an epic fail. An epic fail. It was a sham. It was a shame. I mean, they do that in a lot of movies. They do not show you their colored, deeper melanin colored counterparts. They do it in Bollywood movies. They only show you the fair skinned, mainly people. And if it is anybody that is melanated, they're playing some type of goofy ass role or something. Like, colorism, racism, white supremacy, it goes in all cultures. It exceeds white America, black America, whatever, Western America. I should just say Western America. It supersedes that. So, I mean, I'm not surprised. Yes, Arzuli Dantor, I can't remember. It starts with the C. Our Lady of blank, and then their best way to explain why she's melanated is she got the pictures of her art got blackened or burnt or some shit like that, or I can't remember what they said. It's like so stupid. It's just so dumb. So you're gonna celebrate an ashy, burnt statue depiction of Mother Mary and say this is representing her pain and her sorrow and the ashes of her on her face. It's I cannot. It's like the world we live in is just like, where y'all getting this shit from? Where did they, like, y'all sat up here and really, that's like some little kid that lies would say something like that. Like, why is this statue black? Because it got burned in the fire, and that's just why it's just tar like that. And you gonna celebrate it, huh? You gonna celebrate it like that, right? That's cute. That's real cute. I seen this video the other day. It was funny. I think it was like an interview on like one of those little hip hop channels, and this guy was asked about Michael Jackson, and he said years from now, or decades, probably 2,000 years from now, they will depict that man as he was white, and they will never show his black before he, his skin was white. I believe that. I do believe that. That is very much possible, that they will pass off some people as never, because they do it already. They already do that, and that's a sad thing. And if you think about it, if you're getting upset over this, you getting burning hot, you getting mad, it's some evil ancestors of yours, some racist ass ancestors that feel entitled to everything on this earth, getting mad as fuck. I don't care. I don't care. To think that everything is owned, is Caucasian, is, let's talk about it. Like, if it makes you uncomfortable and if it makes you feel like, oh, you're being a racist and you're attacking people, it's something wrong with you. I feel personally like it has to be something wrong with you if you don't question anything and you just think that everything is, it could be programming. Like, sometimes I really think that some people just don't get it. They don't understand, because that's not their reality. They've been taught their whole life that they are superior over other races, which, again, I'm going to go back to the whole humanity thing. If you really believe that, you don't have humanity inside of you. You don't love people like you say you do. And then some of these spiritualists that want to take on yogas and take all these things from other cultures, ethnic cultures, and then pass it off as their own and try to gatekeep it and tell who can be a part of it. Or, oh, this person looks too ghetto to be, you can't be in yoga with us, or, you're black, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not spiritual. You're taking something on and you're capitalizing off of it. You're dressing in it like, let's put it this way. I think I told you guys the story before, but there was this store that I used to go to. It was like a hippie store. It was literally called Hippie something. I can't remember the name of it. But when I would go in there, the workers were really snotty. And these were motherfuckers that had like the aesthetic of being a hippie. They had like the dreadlocks. They had the, the boho outfits and clothes on, and the incense and stuff. They had the Jimi Hendrix posters and the Bob Marleys and the Beatles and shit. They had all that shit. The psychedelic posters, the glow in the dark posters. They had all that stuff in there, right? Rude as fuck. Rude. Also watching everything you doing. So you know how they do, people, how they do the black people, and the melanated people, they watch you around the store. But you guys are supposed to be depicting this hippie movement that love is love and, oh, we love everyone. Bullshit. It's an aesthetic. It's a fucking aesthetic. You don't love black people. You don't love Asian people. You don't love Latino people. You don't love that. No, you like the aesthetic. Fake spiritual bullshit. It's fake. It's not real. You don't resonate with humanity. You pick and choose. And spirituality is not an aesthetic. Like, yeah, it's cute, but this is one thing that I learned on my spiritual path and journey along the way. Just because somebody looks like they're spiritual because of whatever they are wearing, whether they're black or white, because, some ninjas too, I was going to say the N-word, but some, they be wearing the ankhs, the crystals, and they just as dirty as they want to be. And when I say dirty, like just perverted, after women, after sex, using these terms, oh, my queen, my goddess. Knowing whole damn well this person ain't got no spiritual connectivity. They just dark and demonic as they want to be. Right? And then you have people that you would... some of the most deeply spiritual people I've met, they don't walk around with aesthetics. They just themselves. Like, they don't put this pressure on, like, oh, I gotta wear crystals all the time. And I'm just... It reminds me of the Wizard of Oz. Like... The Wizard of Oz, like, where they had the psychic dude with the crystal ball. He had the little magician cap on, and the little... It's an aesthetic. It's commercial. It's fucking bullshit. The Hoteps, yes. Hotep brother. Greetings, my goddess. Whole time just a love bombing narcissist that done read a couple of books, know some shit, so they can talk to you about it. They can get into it with you, like, yeah, the pyramids was built over here in 1975. They put some other shit in the... Yeah, whatever. Whole time they just trying to get in your jaws. Oh, you Oshun. You the delight. You the delight of the mother goddess Aset. Oh, my God. And you just, yeah, Yes, I'm a goddess. I'm a queen. Yeah. Well, let's do some energy healing on you. Do some energy healing so he can steal your energy and fuck you, and then you just like fucked up in the head. It's just delightful. Hotep. No, it's just too much. I can't. That's why sometimes I had to be taking a break. Let me cleanse this in. That's why I had to take a break from stuff. Like, I can't watch too much. I can't consume too much stuff because it just really just irritates my soul. It really irritates my soul. I try to bring some comedic value to the videos because I don't want it to be too heavy, but like, let's get real. The spiritual community is so cringy sometimes, like white or black or whatever. It's too much. It's too much. It's too overly spiritual. And then like, I don't know why, like, you know, some of the white spiritualists, the ones that be really putting on, they be like, their voices are really, really high pitched and it's really soft, like twin flames are coming together, and it's just like like what the fuck? Like I have to get out of this. I just have to take a break sometimes. It's too much. It's just too much. You know? Even I have to ground because sometimes like I know like I can go up there and I gotta be like, let me ground, like let me check some of this because it can be too much. You know? It's too much. So I have to take a break. Not everything is something we have to dissect all the time. I understand that. Not everything is something that we have to make something out of. I get that. So definitely with this Pisces energy, like it's best to ground. And I feel like spirit is just revealing a lot. You know what like? It's a lot. But yeah, I don't fall for that. I don't subscribe to that. Like I've had firsthand encounters of people that looked the part, like spiritually looked the part. Like, you know, they got the ankhs and the crystals, they got it tatted on them, and you know, they got, you know, the hairstyles and everything. You know, they look like they're a part. You know, they look like it, and they know things. They understand. But they some of the most like fucked up people you want, the most narcissistic of what I found. The more overtly spiritual people is like they're kind of like either I notice that they're like pathological liars. They just lie all the time. It's this grandiose thing like, yeah, this when I went to Sedona, I had this experience. I felt like God was inside of me and God said you're gonna be this big prophet. It's like this it's like spiritual psychosis kinda. It's like, yeah, it's like that. I'm going to be the one to shift humanity. I'm going to be the one. I'm going to be the, you know, that's like saying, I'm going to be the Beyonce of tarot. I'm about to dominate. I'm about to, you know, I'm going to moonwalk on these motherfuckers with the tarot. I'm going to, yes, because God told me. Like, it's, okay. Yeah, okay. Have fun. Have fun with that. That's cute. It's cute. I like it. Yeah, it's kind of scary, but yeah, I've encountered some people that have said some very outlandish shit about like, oh, God told them they're gonna do this in the industry and stuff, and I'll just be like, and then just looking at the personality over time, and you're like, oh, you're a fucking narcissist. Oh, I see why. Okay. No. Yep. Yeah. It's look the part, and that's why, like I said, I say this all the time, like some of the best tarot readers I ever came across, they ain't got a whole bunch of followers and subscribers. They ain't got the tables, you know. Like, look, I'm an aesthetic bitch myself. I like a neck setup. Sometimes I don't want to be on here doing this sometimes. Like sometimes I just be like, I'm gonna sit in my bed, I'm gonna shuffle my cards. If y'all believe what I'm pulling or saying or not, cool. I don't give a fuck. If it's meant for you to hear, you'll know. If it's not, then turn it off. If you're a skeptic, okay, you have every right to be. Like, no. It's not as cute as it seems too, by the way. Like doing tarot, like I love it. I adore divination. I just love it. I feel connected. I don't know, like I guess it's just like something that you just feel called to. It's just one of those things. But there's times where I don't want to do it. It feels too pressuring because you got to fit into the commercial, you know, the target of spirituality, the target of tarot and all this shit. And people, you know, some people that are new to tarot or new to spiritual things, or they're just learning, or they look at it as just like some type of, you know, it's not a movie. This is not Sabrina the Teenage Witch. It's not what you think. You can't just go and pick up a tarot deck, or you can't just go to the store and just go get a candle and just put some spells into it and try to, I have a crush on this guy in my biology class. I'm going to try to attract him and all this shit. Like, you don't know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you watch TikTok and then you have these people, how to put a love spell, how to make them bound to you. Oh, bitch. You in for a delight. You in for a crispy treat, sis. Or bruh. No. No. We have too many kids in society, too many young people that have a lot of mental disorders, a lot of trauma. They have no business playing with tarot decks, doing spells and love spells and all that shit. Oh, inviting spirits. You have no business. No business, let alone adults. There's a lot of, broken adults that have no business. If your mind is not right, if your spirit is not right, you should not be playing with spiritual tools. Hence the word playing with it. That's not what it is. That's not what you do. Yeah. It's a lot of responsibility, like Ilani said, to read for people. Yes. A lot of those prophecies in the spiritual community is spiritual psychosis and psychological issues going on. Yes, Tori. Yes. Oh yeah, I can't see your comment. Hold on, it's moving fast. Hold on. Paid to deliver her a message at this point. You have to be careful. You have to. And I'm not going to say that I'm the most accurate tarot reader. I don't feel like anybody can be 100% accurate. Why? Because we're human. So that 1% could be a little bit of our human understanding and comprehension at the same time. So do we get it right fully and completely all the time? No. But this is one thing I will say. The interpreter can interpret it wrong or interpret it a little bit off, but the cards never lie. When I go back and think about things that I have read for myself or something, and the cards that I pulled, I might have interpreted a little bit wrong until after the situation happens. I'm like, no, those cards were on point. I interpret it the way, and that's why sometimes I don't like to read for myself. It depends on what type of energy I'm in, that I feel comfortable enough, I feel responsible enough to tap into my own situation and pull my own cards. And then another responsibility, if you trust another person enough to read into your energy, that's a whole other thing too. You know what I mean? Not only if you're practicing divination, do you have to make sure within your own self, when you do it for you, that you're in the right mindset to do it. And then if you're tapping or allowing someone else to tap into your energy, that you have to have that discernment. Do you trust this person enough to open yourself up? Because it's spiritual. It is. If you look at these cards, they were made with intention, down to the words, the visions, everything. If you pick up a traditional tarot deck, they have symbolic meanings in them for a reason. So they're read, either they're to be read in that, in the way that it was implied, the traditional meanings, whatever, or you read it with your intuition. They're spiritual tools. Yes, they're paper, but there's a visual, there's symbolic energy. So when you tap in with your energy, your spiritual energy, then you bring it to life. You bring the messages to life. So it's not just some paper that you just play with. Even Christians, know that it's not just paper. It's not just a deck. Yeah, I don't like reading for myself either, because I feel like I would say if you are heavily trying to oh, what does this mean? You're all over the place and you're trying to read under that energy, it's not going to be clear. It's not. So I would say when you're kind of detached, or you're not too pressed on the issue or too pressed on the outcome or what should come out, and you're just kind of I just want clarity, and you're in that state, probably better the reading. is something just recently happened, like you just got a bad phone call from your job and you're freaking out like, oh my god, am I gonna get fired, and you're reading under that frantic energy, is not gonna be clear. Especially if you see like the Ten of Swords or the Death card, you're like, oh fuck, I'm about to lose my job. Like, it might not mean that, you know what I mean? So you just gotta, yeah, make sure we in the right energy. Even the tarot readers that we get, I will not read for a person if I know my energy is fucked up. I'm not gonna do it. I'll take a break. If I need more time, I'll email them and tell them like, hey, I might be a little late with your reading. If I'm not feeling good, or my energy's fucked up, or I'm upset, or I feel rushed to push, I'm not gonna do the reading. Because that will spill, like my energy will spill into the reading, as much as I probably wouldn't want it to. Like, oh, okay, I don't want this to come out in the reading, I don't want this to spill into it. It will. It's almost like, let's say you just had a bad breakup and you're sad and you're still in that energy, and somebody pays for a love reading, and you have this dark cloud of sadness over you, and you go and you try to tap into somebody's energy, that energy is going to spill through that person's reading. So, trial and error. Have I gotten it right from the beginning? No. I was such a naive baby tarot reader. It was sad. So no, I have not gotten it right every time. No, by no means. By no means. Yeah. I pulled my deck out to get the most got clearest message today. My eyesight is fucked. A little, I cannot see. I pulled my deck and got the most clearest message today. I was like, thank you, and put it up. Yeah, you know when you get what you get, and then you can just be like, okay, I got what I got. I needed, got what I needed. Cool. You'll know. Like, that's what I say about intuition. When you know something, you just know. You don't think too much about it. It's a conviction. If you got to keep asking and asking and asking, you're not convinced, or it's not your intuition. And not just with tarot, that's just with life. When you know something deep down inside yourself, you don't even have to question. You even got to ask. You just know the answer to it. You just already know. So I'm going to leave it at that, y'all. I know this was like a long tangent. This was a really long tangent. I ain't got no more ice in my iced tea. How is it iced tea when ain't got no ice? No, but yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to offend anybody, but I'm not going to apologize for anything that I've said, because it needed to be said. I don't, I feel like our white brothers and sisters and other people that benefit off of white supremacy and white privilege, I hope that you sit with yourself and you really do think about, like, are you truly for humanity, or you just like, it's kind of like people that say, I'm a girl's girl, but you're not really a girl's girl, because it's like you want to make sure that you hang around people that you feel are mediocre or not as good as you, or something like that, that you feel like you can't compete with. Like, just because you're hanging out with other girls does not mean that you're a girl's girl. You know what I'm saying? So, like, just because you say, oh, I have black friends, or I have a black husband or wife or kids, does not mean that you really resonate or respect blackness. You respect it to an extent that's comfortable to you. And I've noticed that in a lot of situations, and I have to call it out. I do. I have to sit with that. And like I said, if you getting upset, you getting uptight, it's probably them ancestors, them racist, because let's keep it real. Some of y'all had some ancestors that was cruel, and I know you'll say it wasn't me, but if we are our ancestors, so are you your ancestors. You may not agree with everything that they done, but if you don't correct that shit within yourself, or correct it in a situation where it might need to be, like, let's say that your grandfather was the most evilest, racist person ever, that, slaughtered a lot of black people, maybe other races of people that were not white, let's say, or they were they hated them, and you see something being unjustly done. Is that the right word? Unjust. Something that was unjust to someone at a grocery store, and you know that it was racial profiling, you just walk past and say nothing, or you don't report it. That's you know, I can't respect you. I cannot. Sorry. And there might be pressure sometimes of fear or whatever, but if you know that you have the power to say something and you don't, I cannot respect you. Having a black husband, babies, or a wife, or friends, whatever, that's not enough. I know some racist motherfuckers that have black kids, hate black people, and have black kids, hate their own kids. Why did you do that? Because you wanted to get your little freak off. You wanted to see what that thing do. That's it. No. I tell people all the time, I be telling my brother, like, just because, you know, you be swirling in the vanilla, let that, because I seen it with my own eyes. I done seen them heifers go off and call they men N-words, and their families all kind of sick shit, and it makes you wonder. Just because if a man can sleep with a woman he despises and marries her and hates the shit out of her, what makes you think a racist can't fuck you and marry you and have kids with you, procreate with you? It's just lust, sex, whatever the means is. Like, that don't mean shit. That means absolutely nothing. I mean, it wasn't, I mean, what, we were like called in the 50s and 60s like half human, a quarter of a human. That didn't stop from us getting, you know, getting a little tap, you know, having some mulatto kids, but you think I'm half a human, but you'll fuck me. That says a lot. That says a lot. So if anybody got offended by what I said what I said. And I hope that you can reconcile with that, you know, humanity inside of you. If it really exists inside of you, like, you're going to have to challenge that a little bit. Okay? Yeah. And I'll say this too. If it bothers you to hear another race of people being celebrated, because I see this a lot too, and I'm going to call it out real quick, because this shows you the racism. Whenever a man of his own race says, I love black women, let's say that. I've seen this before. I think it was a guy from Star Wars. He said, I love black women, that's my preference. And then everybody's like, well, isn't all women beautiful? He never said that they weren't. But it's okay when a black man talks down to black women and say, oh, they're ugly, they're ghetto, I like exotics, I like white women. Nobody bats an eye. That's weird. It's like, I can't fathom anyone else being celebrated but me, because, and I say this again, like, some people don't know, they're conditioned to believe, because if a race of people that are non-white can be conditioned to believe that whiteness is better, if y'all ever seen that doll test with the dolls, they had the black doll and the white doll, and they were asking children which one was the good doll, which was the bad one, which is the ugly one, was the pretty one. That's how programmed we are to believe in white supremacy. And if you think within your own mind that because you're white that you're better, you're part of the problem. You need help. We've been conditioned to that. If we never had Caucasian media ruled media by Caucasians, we would not be brainwashed to believe that shit. We wouldn't. If it was a humane world, it would be different types of people all over the screen being, you know, loved. Not just some token Negroes. You know how they do. They'll pick a token Negro or a token Latino or Latina and say, this is beauty. But as a whole, when they say this is the pillar of beauty and handsomeness, they have to have features that look European. That is sick as fuck. And if you benefit from it, you're not going to bat an eye to it because you live in the world of it. You're conditioned and you're comfortable in the shit. That is sad. I don't condone the shit. If you upset, you can unsubscribe, child. You can say what you want about me, but you have to ask yourself that in your heart. Is that right? Is white really right all the time? No. That's not fair to humanity. It's not natural. And the most brainwashing thing with Christianity is how they show you the savior of the world is a white man. That is brainwashing at its finest. That is complete brainwashing. That you can rewrite history and write out the cruelty that you placed upon certain groups of people over time and say, well, what about the Holocaust? Nobody said that the Holocaust wasn't a bad thing. Oh, slavery's not that bad though. I want you to read up on slavery, not the textbook that you got from social studies in 6th grade. I want you to pull up some real historical things and see how just demonic that whole thing was. And then come back and then we can talk about it. Why are black people so angry? We don't have the same story and privilege in life. And it's okay if some people don't understand it to an extent. But if you're a grown man, grown woman, and you still live in that lie and that illusion, you are part of the problem. You are part of the problem. Racism is so demonic to me that I can't even fathom how a person can hate someone because of the color of their skin or whatever they hate about. It's demonic to me. It's not natural. It's not real. It's not human. It's not. It's out of this world demonic. I can't even make sense of it. That you would want to harm children and torture people and watch people suffer, bring your kids outside or watch a man get hung on a tree. Like, that's a fucking demonic shit. It is disgusting as fuck. And you do not wash racism away out of your bloodline because you have sex with a black man or black woman or have kids. If that racism still lives inside of you, if that white supremacist mindset still lives inside of you. So let's remove the illusion. Okay, let's use this Pisces energy. Let's, in our spiritual woo-woo-ness, let's use this energy to cleanse and purify all illusions off of you. And sit with yourself. It's an ugly truth. I know. It's an ugly truth. It is. Whew. Okay, I don't know. I had to say it. It is what it is. We're not going to pretend like it ain't happening. It's not. We're not going to pretend. We're not. No one knows what it's like to be a black person. No one will ever know what it's like. You can put on the aesthetics. You can get you some black wang wang or some black, kitty cat. You'll never know the experience. Even if you have the children, maybe through the children or through that partner, you'll be able to see it with their eyes. You can't deny the difference of treatment. You can see it all over the world. You cannot deny that. If you do, you're a liar. You're lying to yourself. So if you really are, everyone, love is love and I love everybody, that Barney shit. I love you and you love me and don't turn a blind eye to the bullshit. This the word white supremacist should not even exist. It should not even exist. If we're all one, we're all the same. Why does white supremacy exist? Why is it still a thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, why does it still exist? And to say that it doesn't exist, you just you're delusional or you're just as wicked. Yeah. So, to all my Caucasian people, okay? This isn't me attacking you, but it might be attacking the spirit of white supremacy. And if you operate in that spirit, you big mad. You big mad. You sad. We may forgive, because this is the thing that I learned about black folks. We're so forgiving of everybody. We're so welcoming. Oh, they invited to the barbecue. All because you can sing a little tune with a little swang. You got a little twang to your voice. You get a little Tina Marie on and you're Robin Thicke on. And it's like, oh, they're invited to the barbecue all of a sudden, right? No credentials. And I think Tina Marie was, she really was. She was about that. She wasn't I don't get white supremacy from her. But like people like Justin Timberlake, they can benefit off of, the Elvis Presleys of the world, We love throwing that motherfucker as the king of rock when he just stole from a whole bunch of black people. His biggest song mind you, was originally a black woman song that he stole. You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog, his most historical, most popular song, he stole that from a black woman. Says a lot. It was a great pleasure for me to do a photo shoot at his chapel in my Black Madonna attire. It was a pleasure. Such a pleasure to do that, by the way. Because I don't like that. I don't like the type of shit. I don't like the type of energy. Not everybody's going to be invited to the barbecue. No. No. I don't care if you could sing good. I don't care if you could twerk good. I don't care if you got a black woman's body or you like, oh, I could sing, like, Robin Thicke and stuff. Like, that don't mean nothing. That means nothing if you're not really, for humanity, for the people, and you just pick and choose, and you might idolize some of the things of blackness, but you don't really appreciate black. You don't really respect blackness. You really don't give a fuck about blackness at all. You don't care. Only when it benefits and suits you. I can't. Or when a black person's palatable, they have to talk with a code switching voice for you to be like, I can digest them. They talk like this. If they're like Tiger Woods, and even Tiger Woods had people coming at him, like he wasn't even fully accepted. So, No. If you want to really like make the world a better place, sometimes you are going to have to separate your privilege to be there for somebody else, or to speak up for somebody else, or to hear someone else's plight and really digest it, even if you don't understand it. And instead of saying you don't see color, see the color of the person, see the culture, see everything, hear their story, hear their ancestors' stories with an open mind and an open heart. That is how you do it. Not, oh, I don't see color. No, see my color, see my story, hear my story, feel my story, step into my shoes. Hear it out. Because I bet y'all, some of y'all great grandmas and great granddaddies or whatever probably were mulatto. So some of y'all probably had some little black and it got washed out along the way. Maybe. It's a possibility. In that case, like, you owe it to your ancestors to hear them out. So we can get into the Native American history as well, but we're going to save that for another day, because that might ruffle a couple of feathers as well, because there's some supremacy in that as well. Anywho, that is the reading, y'all. Much love. I send y'all lots of love during this Pisces full moon energy. Do well with it, okay? That was a lot. Okay. Yeah. All right. So if you guys enjoyed this, go ahead and give it a like. I love y'all. I love you too, Tori. Thank you, sis. Thank you, everybody that joined. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank y'all for hanging in, because yeah, it's like I don't know. I'd be coming on and be like, okay, I might have an idea what I'm going to talk about, or maybe read on. It never goes that way. It always goes kind of like another way. But I'm just going to flow with it and trust it, as always. And it's all love to everybody. I say all these things as tough as it is sometimes. Like, yeah, it's opinions, it's facts. It's also, it comes from a passionate place. I don't hate nobody. I don't hate people. It's just a strange thing. You're welcome. Oh yeah, you're welcome, Ilani. It's like this strange thing when you hold people accountable, or when you say something, it's like it means automatically hate. No, it's not. But I know it's probably like a little harsh to hear to some people's ears if you're not used to being held accountable, especially when it comes to racism and stuff like that. That's a thing. Like, I love my ancestors, and I do have some white ones, unfortunately. And when I say unfortunately, because just how far it goes back, I kind of have an idea that it probably was some, some essay situations. I don't think it was out of love that this happened. So, yeah, but I just want to give an ear and a voice for people to really, like, if you really love people, if you really love all races and you say you love black people and stuff like that, or other races, to hear out their stories, really. You know, if you're going to procreate with a black person, make sure that you understand blackness and you don't just have kids and be like, oh, I don't know what to do with their hair. I don't know how to relate to them. You know, racist mothers and fathers are the worst things that can ever happen to a mulatto child, because you're already putting them in the position to be like, well, who do I identify with? Where do I go? Where do I belong? And they can't just pick and choose and say, oh, I'm white, or I'm just black, or you can't do that to them. You know what I mean? Like, that's not psychologically fucked up. So think about these things. If you're going to really befriend black people, make sure that you don't gaslight them about their experiences and say, oh, why don't you just get over it? Bitch, fuck you. Respectfully. Like, no. You know? No. Okay, I'm going to just drop it. We're going to just drop it. That needed to come out. And if anything else, if you don't get anything out of it, at least sit with yourself and really think about it. Please don't just deny it, run from it, or cry, oh, you're picking on white people, or you're being racist. Like, let's not do that. We're not gonna do that. Okay, it's all love. Okay, let's get it together. Okay, well, humanity, we have a lot of work to do. I don't even want to get started on the gender wars. I'm gonna do a whole nother video, because we mentioned the incels. I want to get into that, because we're going to get it in on the men and the women, okay? Because that's a whole nother thing. Racism, that's one demon we have to tackle, but there's just gender wars between men and women and love and relationships. We're going to have to talk about that another time. We're going to get it in. I might do that on Friday, since it is Venus Day. It is Love Day. I might do a reading and do like a discussion on that. We're going to break that whole thing down too. But yeah. So much love as always. I appreciate y'all. Be blessed, be safe, take care. Until the next one, peace.